simulate the plot in this notebook. Before writing the code in the Streamlit application, we will simulate the process of downloading the data and making the plot. The first thing is create a list with the selected stock. List stock selected. We put Apple and Google, for example. Now we need to work with the utils library that we have on the folders. It contains the function processDFDailyAdjusted that we developed in previous tutorials to download the data from the API and finally return the data frame. To work with the function, we need to import the library utils. We execute, but we get an error, module not found, because it's not in the same folder of the notebook. It's in the parent folder, so we need to tell Python with the library sys that we want to look for Python files one folder up with the 2 periods and the bar. We execute, now we import utils, we don't get any error, and we access the function processDFDailyAdjusted. We can use the function to retrieve one stock. There we see the data frame. Nevertheless, we want to work with the list that we previously created. As we saw in the previous tutorial, if we want to use the function processDFDaily in the list of stock selected, we need to use the map function that first asks for a function and then an iterable. The function is processDFDaily and the iterable is the list of stock selected. We need to save the result into a list, so we use the function list, and finally we save the list in a variable. If we print the result of the list, we will see the Apple stock and the Google stock. To join both data frames, we use the function pd_concat. We execute, but we need to import the pandas library before. There we have the table with the cumulative return and the symbol. Now we save the result into a variable, df. With this data frame, we will create the lines in the plot. So we use plotly library, px a chart of lines. The first parameter they ask is the data frame and then the x and the y. So data frame equals df. X is the column of the dates, which is the index. So x equals to df index. Then the values on the y-axis, which come from the variable return cumulative. We place it here. We could execute, but we won't get the differentiations of the stocks because we need to use the color equals to the variable where we have the name of the stock, which is symbol for Apple and Google. So color equals to symbol. Now we execute, and there we see the progress of Apple and Google. We save the figure in a variable, fig, and we can plot it below. Now all the developments of lines of code we have created should be passed into the application to produce the plot. The first thing we did was creating the selected stock, which is the variable that we have here. We also substitute here. Then we import sys to make the library available, import utils. Then we retrieved the information of the stock with processDFDaily. We can use this after pressing on the button. We need to import the pandas library, concatenate the result of the list of data frames. Then we use plotly library to finally plot the lines where we compare the stock. We save it. We go back to the terminal, go from exercises to the folder where we have the application, ls to see the folders, cd03 to navigate, then we go to cd apps, and there we have the application app.py, Streamlit run app.py. Be careful because the command Streamlit may not be found, as we need to activate the environment we previously created. Now we run the code again and we'll see the Streamlit application. If we select the stock of Apple, Microsoft, we submit, it's processing the information. There we see the comparison of both stocks. To make the web application a bit nicer and more user-friendly, we need to make a few changes that will be explained in the following tutorial.